So you want to be an Angelic Buster. So you want to be super pretty and very pink. So pink, in fact, that you're rivaling Pink Bean. Well then, you've come to the right class. In the Beginner tab, we have Dress Up, which allows you to switch between your normal form and your Magical Girl form. And of course, in Magical Girl form, you can actually attack. While I'm talking about Dress Up, I should also mention that Cash Up items can be worn in either form. So if you say yes, you'll wear it in your normal form. If you say no, it'll be put onto your Angelic Buster mode, or your, Dress Up mode. And I just said no. I just meant to cancel the window. Alright. So you don't really need to have this on a keyboard, unless you want to, switch manually between the two. But yeah, you don't need it. As soon as you try to attack, you'll go into the other mode. Daydreamer allows you to go back to your starting area, just Angelic Buster's room. Grappling Heart is just a grappling hook. It's really far, especially if you flash jump. You can go all the way to the top of this map. So, it also has no cooldown. You just have to touch the ground before doing it again. And that's pretty much... Oh, actually, there's one more skill I should mention in the Beginner tab. Soul Buster. If you hold down the attack key, you'll do Rapid Fire. It does one line, but it does mob. So it's really good for first job training. If you don't want to use Star Bubble. And speaking of Star Bubble, Star Bubble is your first mobbing skill, basically, like your first actual skill in first job. It's very fast, very strong, and yeah, I like it a lot. It pretty much recharges all the time. Speaking about recharge, I should mention that. So, recharge. Okay, so as you can see, Angelic Buster has no MP. The reason for that is that you need your skills. How do I put it? Your skills will stop working if you just keep using them constantly. So if I were to use Star Bubble over and over, it would eventually say fail. Although not really for me, because I have the 4th job version of a passive that I'll get to. But it'll fail, which means that I'll need to use another skill in order to recharge it. So when a skill fails, you can't use it, and it'll be gray over on this bar. So this would be gray if I fail it, which means that I can't use it. The way that I would recharge it, then, is to use any other skill, and there's a chance that it'll recharge. As you can see, the words recharge appear over my head, which means that I can then use Star Bubble again, or whatever skill needs recharging. Recharging also recharges all of the skills in the window, so as soon as you get one recharge, you can use the skills again. Alright, so I guess I'll talk about Affinity Heart, which is your, it's a passive, but it gives you a recharge rate of 30%. And I'm not sure because I haven't reset my skill points or anything, but I think this is just a passive bonus to all the other skills as well. So this has a 30% chance to recharge, like it gives you that passively, I assume. But Star Bubble has a 70% chance to recharge. So I assume once you max this out, Star Bubble won't ever need to be recharged. You could just spam it the whole time. Just my assumption. I haven't actually played a first job Angelic Buster in a very long time, and I don't really want to spend the points, the SP reset, the mesos on the SP reset to put the points in. So Feather Hop is your flash jump, and it's my favorite flash jump, not only because it's pink, but because it goes so far and so fast, and you get 2 of them. So if you want to jump this way, made a mistake, want to go that way instead. But it goes very far, very fast, and I love it. It's my favorite flash jump. Melody Cross just gives you a +1 attack speed, and then a passive buff to your HP. Alright, so that's it for first job. In second job, you get Lovely Sting. And Lovely Sting is a very long range attack that has 2 stages. The first one, you sting the enemy, and the second one explodes the debuff that you put onto the enemies. So you see that there's a debuff on their head, If I press it again, it'll explode, doing the same damage. I didn't really use this skill that much. I feel like I should have. I mainly just used Star Bubble from first to like third job. But I don't know, the skill seems useful. Good reach, good damage. It has a 50% recharge chance. And yeah, that's about it for that. Does one line, by the way. I'm sure you've seen it though. Most of the attacks on Angelic Buster do very high damage, but only one line. Until maybe 4th job, and then you get more lines, but we'll get to that eventually. Pink Pummel. This is your rush skill. You can push enemies with it, but it's also, you know, good for just getting out of the way. And yeah, that's pretty much what that does. There's not much to say about that one. 20% recharge chance. Power Transfer. This skill just, oh god, I hate this skill. So, okay. When you use it, it reduces the damage you take by half, like by 50%. The thing is that when you do damage, 1% of the damage that you did, wait, let me see. Convert 1% of the damage dealt. Yeah, so the 1% of the damage that you do is put into the shield. But the thing is that the shield kind of disrupts your... to me anyway. This yellow part will not go down if you get hit. The damage that you take is reduced by half, but the yellow part doesn't go down. And that really bothers me because then you have to pay attention to the red part, because if I were to, let's say, just get my HP really low, I would expect the yellow part would keep me alive, like that would be an extension to my HP bar, but it's not. As you can see, I have 2,708 HP right now, so don't count the yellow portion of your HP bar, just the red part is your actual HP. I wish that it worked that way, where it took away the yellow and then eventually the red, but I don't know. Maybe an Angelic Buster can tell me why this is that way. I don't like it. Anywho, that's pretty much what that does. And I believe the rest are passive. Affinity Heart 2 is a passive in second job. After killing 10 enemies, you will have a 100% chance to recharge. So it's just, you know, kill 10 enemies, you get a recharge. It's nice. In third job, we have Soul Seeker. Oh boy, Soul Seeker. This skill used to be one of the most broken skills in the game when Angelic Buster first came out. But they nerfed it, and now you can only summon 2 orbs, but still, that's really good. When you activate it, there does have to be monsters around, but you summon 2 orbs that will bounce off of enemies and just seek other enemies to attack. Very good skill. Like it a lot. So you summon 2 orbs that'll attack 2 random enemies, doing 1 line of damage, and they do 320% damage. There's also a recreation chance of 85%. So what that means is when you first throw the orb, there's a chance that it will recreate itself and bounce again, which is what it's doing there. Like, you'll see it just bounce off the enemy like, woo, and then just keep attacking. 85% chance to do that. Let's see. It also has a recharge chance of 30%. I believe that's it for that. These 2 skills actually work together, so I'm going to go over the hammer first, which is Heavenly Crash. So, Heavenly Crash is super pretty, super cute, but it says recharge chance, but it's also a skill that always recharges, so I'm not sure, like, what that really means, but yeah. It'll launch enemies into the air, doing, of course, 1 line of damage, and it does 760% damage. That's really good. And now let's look at Shining Starburst. Shining Starburst will just... oh my god, it's so pretty. I love this class. Summon a bunch of daggers that just attack an enemy in front of you, doing 720% damage. But enemies that are launched into the air by the hammer will have the daggers, the damage is doubled. So 2 times the damage. It's a really good combination that isn't used very often because people just spam the hammer. But it's so strong, it's so good, especially for elite hunting. It's so good. Like here, I'll show you. So you would do this, and then you would do that. And it's so good. But I wouldn't recommend using, this skill alone. You could use the hammer alone all you want, but don't use the, daggers alone. Alright, so then we move on to... Oh, and the daggers, Shining Starburst, has a 40% chance to recharge. Iron Blossom. All this does is give you 40% knockback resistance. But if you have the second job shield activated, then the 40% chance is doubled to 80%. So if I just have the shield... Oh, sorry. If I don't have the shield, but I activate Iron Blossom, I have a 40% knockback resistance. But if I activate the second job shield, it goes to 80%. And the rest are passive, but Affinity 3 is a 100% chance to recharge when recharging fails twice in a row. So that's nice, really good. Moving on to 4th job, you get Celestial Roar. My goodness, why did I have such a hard time saying that? Which does massive damage twice. 1,160 damage 2 times. It has a 90% chance to stun enemies for 3 seconds, and it also recharges at a 40% chance. Or the recharge chance is a 40%. So, yeah, okay, so this skill has so much range to it. It's so nice. Here, let me just use all my buffs, because I'm going to get to those skills anyway. So, just, the range on it. Vertical, horizontal, both ways. It's just really nice. I love it. I love this skill so much. I don't even have to go up there. And it matches the hitbox of the animation. So if I'm way out here, I have to be a little bit closer. So this attack will hit from pretty much behind me right here to in front of me right here. And it's so good. It's such a good skill. Anyway. And then we get Trinity. This is your bossing skill. Trinity, when activated just by itself, only does the first attack. But if you hit an enemy that can actually survive the first attack, you go through the other animations. So this skill does 720% damage 2 times, but you can activate it 3 times, like if you keep pressing the key. The second hit will do 3 lines, and the third hit will do 4 lines. So really nice. Also, you get a buff as you're using it. If you use just the first skill, I believe you get a 10% bonus. Yeah, it's right here, 10% bonus. But if you go through the second attack, okay, these guys are dying too fast. There we go. So I went through the second attack. Well, I guess since I used it 3 times, I got the third buff. Basically, every time you use it, you get a 10% damage boost. It stacks 3 times, so 30% damage and 30% defense ignore, because every time you use it, you get a defense ignore buff as well. Let's see, anything else about it? Recharge chance is 50%. Although, I really didn't like it before we got the Affinity Heart. Before we got that, it was so bad at bossing, because you would be doing the combo, you're like, yeah, I'm taking down the boss, and then it would fail. And you wouldn't be able to use it until you use another skill. That was super annoying. But you'll see later when I get to the passive. So, Finale Ribbon does 4,000% damage. Only 1 line though, but 4,000% damage, that is amazing. Has a cooldown of 40 seconds, of course, but you can eventually cut that down by 25%. I'll get to it in hypers. 4,000% damage 1 time, and it also debuffs the enemy for 20 seconds, and the debuffed enemy will take 40% damage from you or 40% extra damage from you, and 20% extra damage from your party members. That is amazing, and it also 50% recharge, but 4th job you don't really have to worry about recharge as long as you max Affinity Heart. But still, 4,000! That's amazing! I think my normal skills do like 1 mils. This skill, just goodness, 13 mils. Well, okay, maybe I don't do. Here, let's see. I do about 3 mils, but my goodness, it's so strong. Too bad it has a cooldown. Soul Resonance. So this is a keydown skill, which means that you have to hold it down to use it. And when you hold it down, it does, repeated damage. It does 610% damage for 8 seconds. After the 8 seconds, there's a finishing move that does 3,000% damage. My goodness. And of course, the damage against bosses is increased by 50% with this skill. While you're using this skill, the damage that you take is reduced by 20%, which includes percent HP attacks. So, very useful. Stargazer. It's a buff, it just gives you 45% critical damage. And the rest are, actually, Maple Warrior, of course, 15% all stats, woo! And Nova Temperance, which just cures abnormal status. Ooh, Soul Seeker Expert, I forgot about this. So remember Soul Seeker, how you had to have enemies around you to use it, and it was an active skill? Well, this is a toggle skill, where if you toggle it, every time you attack, there's a chance to summon, just, as you're attacking, summon Soul Seekers. There is a 35% chance to activate them. They do have only 75% of the damage that normal Soul Seekers do, like if you use Soul Seeker, then, that's normal damage. But if you use the Expert, then those only do 75% damage of the ones that you normally summon. And if you use Celestial Roar, which is your mobbing skill, the activation chance goes up to, oh god, what was that, 50% chance? So there's a 50% chance to automatically summon them, which is nice. It'll really help your training out. Anything else? No, looks like that's it for that. So Affinity Heart. This gets rid of the whole recharge failing thing. There's a 100% chance to reattempt a charge when it fails. That means that you don't fail anymore. Every time you attack, you don't have to worry about recharging. I love this skill. Like, this is probably the first skill I max as an Angelic Buster. I mean, I put 1 into everything and then I just go straight to Affinity Heart because I don't like recharging. I mean, sure, changes things up, use different skills from every job, but still. I like using skills that I want to use. Anyway, so yeah. 100% chance to recharge after you fail, except you can't fail if there's 100%. Anyway, there's also a 50% chance to increase your damage by 30% for 5 seconds when a recharge is successful, which is the pink buff that you've been seeing appearing right here every time I was attacking. Alright, so going into hypers. Goodness, I made this video way longer than it needed to be, with just my added commentary. I'm so sorry. I did Soul Seeker Reinforce, which of course increases the damage, and I also did the Recreation chance, which means it has a chance to bounce again. More often, 10% chance. I did test this. I did a DPS or DPM test, to see if the damage buff from Finale Ribbon, like increasing it by 20%, if that was worth it. Turns out it wasn't. The Recreation chance on Soul Seeker was much more worth it. Oh, I shouldn't say much more. It was like maybe like 600k damage more. Anyway, just over a minute, it was enough to make me not want to put into this. However, I did put into the cooldown reduction by 25%. So there's only, let's take a look. So the cooldown's 40 seconds, and then it's reduced to 27 seconds. The buff lasts for 20 seconds. So there's only a 7-second, time where you're not doing extra damage, as long as you hit the enemy. And then of course I did Trinity damage up, and Trinity lines up. So instead of doing 2 lines, the first hit will do 3 lines, Second hit will do 4 lines, and the last hit will do 5. So, moving on to the active hypers. At 150 you get pretty, how do I say this word? Exaltation? Maybe? Sorry if I said that wrong. The duration is 30 seconds. You get all of these buffs. Ignore defense 30%, damage when attacking a boss monster 20%, and Soul Seeker activation chance 15%. All of those are, this is such a good, what do you call it, 150 hyper. I love it. Like, just, it's so good. By the way, your Link skill, I should mention, has a cooldown of 90 seconds. Your 150 hyper has a cooldown of 90 seconds, so you pretty much want to use them both at the same time. The Link skill, by the way, increases Angelic Buster's damage for 10 seconds. At 170, you get a hyper skill that is just very big skill. Just covers a lot of the map. You can also use it in the air, so if I use this correctly, I should be able to hit all 3 of these platforms. The very top. Yep, I'm hitting all 3 of these platforms. Does 600% damage, and let's see, and does 3 lines. Has a cooldown, or it lasts for 12 seconds, and it has a cooldown of 65 seconds. Very short, but very good for training. And then at level 200, remember how most classes only get like 10% damage at 200? Well, Angelic Buster gets 50 attack, 30% crit rate, and 100% knockback resistance at level 200. So, yeah. That's about it for Angelic Buster. This video is way longer than it needed to be. Oh my goodness. But hey, I don't have to edit it. Or maybe I will, I don't know. I'll look back at the video. Why am I still talking? I really don't know why. So, I don't think I showed you Soul Resonance. Wow, I went over the skill, I didn't even show it. So yeah, it's just a big pillar of Angelic Buster spinning, and at the end she explodes with like wings. It's really cool. Anything else I didn't go over? No, I think that's it. So let's just head straight into the bossing. So when bossing with Angelic Buster, make sure you use Finale Ribbon. Activate your hypers. Oops. And your Link skill. And then go crazy. By the way, this video was supposed to come out on Valentine's Day, you know, because this is a pink and cute class. But I got sick. I'm still sick, but I'm not showing it because I'm editing out my coughs and sneezes and sniffles and all that. Because you don't want to hear that. But anyway, yeah, I've been sick, so I haven't been able to record lately. Sorry about that. But yeah, here's the late Valentine's Day video. I hope your Valentine's Day was great. And if it wasn't, hopefully next year will be better. There's always next year. So that was Angelic Buster bossing. Hope to see you on the next video. And thanks for watching. Did I say that already? I feel like I said that already. This video has been all over the place with commentary. Like, I need to just get straight to the point. Anyway, see you.